Good morning, Northern Arizona. Joe Clyde, AscensionPathway.com and Evan Fain YouTube channel. Here you see the forecast for Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2015. And you can see what a fraud it was yesterday. And we'll see if it turns into a fraud again today. There's no mention of any cloud coverage, rain, cloudoids, chemtrails, whatever. It just says sunny all day. You see it go right to 4 o'clock. And then from 4. And then 5 o'clock it says mostly sunny. See that? 6 o'clock mostly sunny. So you know the chemtrail activity is going to be in full force around 5. But we know a little bit differently because they were spraying all day yesterday when they said it was completely sunny. See how they're doing that? See how they're getting partly cloudy in there? See how they're doing that? So we're going to show you just how they do it. Stay tuned. Good morning. It's Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2015. Happy Valentine's to you all. You saw the weather report first thing. We're on facing the western sky of Mingus Mountain a little after 11 a.m. This is the place of our early morning documentation to show you the skies. Skies are blue for the most part, like they said, but I ain't going to wreck it for you. As I pan to the northern sky, you can still see blue, little bit of haze back in there. You can see the lighter color around the coastline there, around the horizon. Then as I pan to the eastern sky, you can see the haze getting bigger and thicker. As I pan all the way, a little fuzzy there. Let me back it off, give it a chance to focus. Then I'll bring it in. You can see the haze on that back mountain range. So you know it's on top of us all. And in every neck of the woods, wherever you're living in the United States and all over the world, it's like this. They've been chemtrailing us to death. You can see the haze. And now as I pan, now it's going to start getting good. Let me back it off. Look how thick that haze is. It's almost like a radioactive glow. Okay. Now, this is where it really starts to get good. Let me back it off so I can show you. They've already got the chem shield built already. Look at that shield. All the way across. And there's no mention of this. This is supposed to be a clear sky day till 4 o'clock. Before the so-called clouds move in. We know what that is. All the way to the western sky of that Mingus Mountain. That'll be the southwestern sky. But you see the edge of the grid. Look at that. Already built. So and look at, there's a chemtrailer there. He left a little marking spot. So the guys can add to that mix. You see how they did that? Look how thick that shield is already. And it's coming fast this way. So they've already got, it's already coming. They've already got that, and that'll all be black tonight when it falls. Whether the wind blows it another direction or on top of us, I don't know. But there you see that the weather report's already wrong. Look at a chemtrail on top of that. We know all that's chemtrail too. All right, we're going to be back to show you exactly what happens today. Okay, we got a little action going in that northern sky. You already saw the grid work. In that southern sky, this guy's laced in the plume. Looks like a silver bullet. He's out on the horizon though, it's hard to tell. I'm gonna fade him out. Seconds later, we got another guy. The assault is starting, just like I had foreseen, to make the weather report right. He's got a nasty plume. He's way out there too. I'm going to fade him out until he gets overhead. Then we'll get him. Alright, here he is. Now people say, well, let me back it up. Well, it's just a contrail. Well, contrails are about a third of that. People tend to forget because they've been spraying this plume for so long. That looks like a silver bullet. As they're going to continue to spray all day to cloud up the sky. Because, as we know, there's no more clouds. So they got to make it look like clouds. Clearly a silver bullet. coming out of the nozzle. Looking at the grid from my place in that southern sky, you can see they laced another trail over top of that existing plume that I showed you earlier in the earlier documentation. Down there, see the grid work? See how white that is down there? Think it's clouds? Yes, again, it's not. And the jet just went by, laced another lacing on top. So I would assume we're going to see another lacing and another lacing above that. Then they'll start the grid work. But back in here you can see it's already dispersing and falling from the sky. Yeah. We're going to be on the watch out all day today to check this out. Look what we got here around 12:30 in the morning, or in the afternoon, I'm sorry. It's a red bad boy, and I just missed another one. There's back-to-back red bad boys. The first one that I missed was spewing out a little bit of plume, and he'd stop, and a little bit more without any trail. Wanted to make sure I got this guy. They're so hard to get without that plume. I want to see if he spews a little out of that back nozzle. Maybe they got empty tanks because they're heading back north. Yeah, in the grid, they were heading back north, and that's where the grid is. And if you look way in the back, there he is. Let me see if I can get him in. He is spewing something out of that back nozzle now. And there it is. Oh man. I'm going to be patient here and see if I can get him in. Well, I had him for a second and then I lost him. God, I can hear him all over the place. There he is. See, he is spewing. See how they do that? So covertly. So covertly. And look at this guy. We got a red tail. We got a freaking red tail. Wherever there's a red bad boy, there's usually a red tail or a couple of red tails. But he's clearly a red tail. Look at that shit spewing out of that friggin' nozzle. Look how unsymmetrical it is. They're getting the grid work going. They're gonna make it cloudy. See that? See how they're doing that? And there's a red tail. And where there's usually one, there's usually another. I don't know if this is a red tail or not. But if it holds true to form, it's going the exact same way. They're really going to make it cloudy. I'll wait till it gets overhead and then we'll see. It's a little hard to tell with this guy. Could be a silver bullet. The fuselage on the side of the tanks on the side of the fuselage is the dead giveaway. And that's what it looks like to me on this viewfinder. A silver bullet following the red tail. God, just seconds later too. Here's that southern sky. I want to show you that trail there, and then we got another guy lacing another line of plume. There he is. To fill in that blue spot, complete the grid. He's got a nice line. Wow. You can see how that top trail's starting to disperse. Keep an eye on it as it moves our way. We got another silver bullet flying right over top of me. Almost looks like a blue bottom. Looks like a blue bottom. God, it's just never gonna stop. We're back in that southern sky to show you another lacing. Another guy lacing another lay over top of that grid work. See what they're doing? And it's not even 1 o'clock in the afternoon yet. There's the grid. Look at that old plume there.
And then the grid work down in there. Wow. You can see it happen. Look at the thinned work in that one. But in the background here, through the trees, just look through the trees. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's 2 trails all the way through there. Let me back it up. But just look how that stuff is dispersing from the sky. People, look at that. Look at that big chemtrail. They put that together. That's a trail up there. See how they just pieced it together? But look at that thinned work as that trail disperses. And then over here, let me show you as I pan over here, they got this guy all marked up already. Only been gone for a couple minutes, otherwise I would have caught him in the act. But they're getting ready to bring that grid closer and closer as it comes closer to us to make sure the sky is cloudy. It's all fake. Right here, a red bad boy just went by, marked a couple of spots. There 2, there's 1, there's another one. But I lost him in the horizon. But this one, I'm not gonna miss. As see how they did that? He's heading right for the markings of the last red bad boy. Watch him. Turn the camera. Look at the plume out of that thing. He's heading right for the other trail marking. Let me back it off. I'm gonna turn the camera. Look at that son of a bitchin' red bad boy. I have only one mission like I told you before. These are not passenger jets by any means. They're just ready to spray the plume. Get a good look, so when you look up at the sky and you see that, you'll know exactly what it is. Let me back it off. He just crossed the marking. Let me show you. Marking there. Marking there. It's that Indigo Skyfold Phase 2 mix. A little blurry there, sorry about that. But it's the red bad boy as he flies to the western sky. Which is a little off for him. They usually fly north and south, but not always. And there's those plumes I just showed you through the trees just a second ago. Look at this pair of railroad tracks. Spot missing. Got a little spot up in there. There you see. There's the other trail right underneath it. And I'm going to pan it down so you can see the grid coming this way. Look at that grid work. They're making the grid. Well, the onslaught continues. It's only a few minutes later, and look at this guy lacing another line to complete the grid work, to make it cloudy. I can't focus them in to see what configuration that jet is. Not by this viewfinder by any means, but you can see the line. Look how thick that line is. My God, look at that. Wow. All the way down. I'm going back to this again. Here you see this guy has to be a tanker, but you can see he's flying up into that half circle to make the grid. Then he stopped. Look at that, he stopped. Unbelievable. He stopped. And then I'm going to back it up. Look at the plume from the other trail. Then back there, you can see the plume. Then above me, where the guy just went by, sun's white again. There you see, look at that plume. Back to this chemtrail. He just left this. Now I'm going to show you what he did. Look at the crap falling from the sky already, so you know it's low. He went up on an angle all the way here. Now watch this. It stops. He disappeared. Let me back it up so you can see what's going on. He disappeared. I'm looking for him to come out the other end. He's filling in that blue spot. And all this here, it's all chemtrail activity. We documented that earlier this morning. Everything down there is all chemtrail activity. As they try to fill in it to make it partly cloudy. Look at the whiffs back in here, though. Pretty soon there'll be the finned work. You'll see the fins. You can see the wisp falling from the sky up there. It's already fallen. And look how that's fallen. Look how that is falling apart. As it'll just drip right on to the next layer to make it look like so you can be fooled to think they're clouds. Above it is that one there. And then I'm gonna go above that where this one is. We documented where that one went. Look at that. Back it off, get a better perspective. We bring it all the way down to the trees. And trust me, it goes beyond past the trees, as usual. And there you see the second rail right up there as they try to piece together some cloud work to fool the dumbed down people. Well, we're not dumbed down anymore. And that's why we're bringing you this footage. So please tell your friends to subscribe to the channel, the Evan Payne YouTube channel, and support our operation so we can continue to give you this footage. It's just simply amazing. Here's something I hadn't seen either. It's way back in there. There's another chemtrail where a guy laced. See if I can get it in there. He laced another trail right in there. See that? See the trail lacing in there? Just to make it thicker so they can fool you. Then on the other side of the grid we got another guy going the opposite way. Kind of crisscross those patterns. See? Just to kind of get that finned work developed. And he's got a nice thick plume. It's really far away, can't make out the configuration. But you see what's going on, we're documenting it as they make the clouds. It's about close to 1:30 and I got another red bad boy going from east to west as they continue to make that grid. Just spraying again and again and again. To show you its plume. Indigo Skyfold Phase 2 mix. Just sprays a lot faster because we have documented the red bad boy's plume in the past and they're very nasty. That son of a bitch. We can clearly see it coming out of that back nozzle. They continue to try to make it cloudy because there's no clouds there. This is all cloudoids, as I'll show you coming up here real soon. They're moving toward the north and look how big they got. Look how they dispersed. There's that one rail, and let me just walk out here so you can see how long it is. Well, excuse that. And it's right above me. All dispersing. And watch this as I pan back to where those other wisps were. Look at that. And there is that big bomb where that jet, it looked like a tanker, just stopped right there. Look at that dispersion. See how it's all just coming together so it can fool the dumbed down public into thinking that these are real clouds, which we already know they're not. And back in the earlier this morning documentation where I showed you at the back of the grid in that southern sky, well, it's coming up real close here, and it's all right there, almost right on me. See, people need to get the picture. Please share these videos. I don't know what this guy is doing. Looks like a silver bullet, possibly with empty tanks. Looks like he's got the fuselage tanks on the side. Probably empty, going to refuel probably. The chance could be a passenger jet. I highly doubt it though. Because they got to make it partly cloudy. Although we're just documenting what we video, what we see. So we just want everybody to know it possibly could be a passenger jet. And do you remember that red bad boy that went by earlier and I couldn't get him, but he spewed a couple of plumes? Well, this is what's left of that. So you could easily see how people are confused, bamboozled into thinking that we really still have clouds. Ha ha ha. Boy, when they do wake up and find out the truth, oh, are they gonna be mad. Right on time, here comes another one. Lining up another railroad track here. Looks like a silver bullet. Clearly out of that back nozzle. See the line? Well, let me show you what he did. It ends, and then it comes back. Got into a better position so you can see this. See how he started the plume, sprayed up to this point, stopped, spewed a little. There's a couple of spews. Actually, that's another jet following him. Wow. I don't know if you can see that or not. Wow, but there's the jet that was spewing the original trail. You get him in there. There he is there. Okay. And then we got this guy. Let me find this trail. Right in through there. And there he is. There he is. Okay. Wow. Back to backs. There's those two rails that I showed you earlier. And it's probably a little after 1. Actually, no, it's closer to 2. I'm sorry. 2 in the afternoon. This is over heading north already. Here's that other big wisp. And there's that big bomb. The sun's in my eyes. I'm gonna get it. Sun's white. You can see how blinding that is, but there's that big bomb left from that tanker. Look at that. It's almost right on top of me. This wisp over here, that was way in the horizon early in the morning. So you can see what they've done. Proof again. The clouds aren't real. Getting back to this rail. When I showed you how it was spewing out, look how it thickened up with the breaking points in between the lines. But he's so high up and all the way down to the horizon. And then when I bring it back up, and guess what? We got here another guy coming the other way. Because it's getting close to the time where they need to make it cloudy. See that? And it's a red bad boy. Wouldn't you know it? Coming out of the nozzle as usual. Red bad boy. God dang, I wish somebody would shoot these bastards out of the sky. Alright, this is another one of the rails I documented earlier. But what's important here is how it's all dispersed into the finned work. See the finned work in there? It looks like fish fins. We've documented this many, many times over and over and over. But we want the new viewers to understand what's happening. That's why the sun is white. Okay? Look at those wisps. I am laying down trying to get some sun, some white sun, and I'm watching this just fall right from the sky right on me. And you're breathing it. We all breathing it. It doesn't matter where you're at. There you can see the sun is white still. But just, I'm going to dig you right into that heart of that finned work. There's nothing to it. That's not a cloud. It's all fake. It is so fake. And it's been fake for a long time. As I was laying down and I saw a silver bullet go by with no plume, I thought he was a passenger jet. Highly unlikely. This is what he did. He went by with no plume, went through that wisp, and then he laid on his plumers to lay this line. I was wondering when they're going to go from north to south and south to north. Blank spot right there. And then he stopped. And he stopped. So a lot of the silver bullets that I have documented and I was said they possibly could be, guess again. My gosh, are they all in cahoots? All the pilots in cahoots. There's a double rails that was way back in the other side. Now they've added that rail to it, okay? These wisps over here are left from that red bad boy from about an hour ago. And there's a rail left from, I believe it was a silver bullet. And then this, the sneaky guy that snuck by, that's way up there. You can see how that's starting to disperse way up there. Way up there. Way up there. Here's what's going on in that southern sky. Look at the mess in there. Look at the trails. There's a guy spraying right now. God, look at that. There he is. Through the trees. See him in there zooming through the trees? See him lacing another layer? See that? They've got line after line after line creating this massive white finned work toxic junk that are going to fool the American public and the local Arizona people into thinking this is a, you know, partly cloudy sky. Oh my gosh, when are people gonna wake up to this? Getting back to this segment over here. This was that big bomb that went by the tanker. Okay, we've already documented that. And below that with the wisp bar, that was a previous trail. But this was the big bomb that went by. You can tell by the way it looks. See that? We've documented. If you don't believe me, go back to my previous videos. You can see it's all documented. And here we got another guy coming over here. See that? See him coming? Adding to another rail with Plume as they continue to make the blocking shield of the sun, as well as keeping the Weather Channel happy with the weather report. Man, he's really lacing some Plume. Hard to tell. I'm laying out in the sun. You can see it clearly out of Nozzle. But look at the Plume that guy is spraying. Wow. Looks like he's on fire. Looks like it's coming out of many nozzles. This is just totally incredible. Totally incredible. Amazing footage. Look how that rail is glowing. I gotta pan it off. My eyes are bugging me. We're back to that rail that just went by. It definitely had to be a tanker. Couldn't see with that sun blazing in my face, but you can just tell by the Plume and the way the Plume is coming out of the jet. So when I load it onto YouTube and you can see it on the bigger screen, you'd be able to see, but look how deadly that is. Deadly, deadly, deadly. Oh man, come on. I am just so tired of this. We just had some brave pilots to blow these guys out of the sky once and for all to set a precedent. But you can clearly see what they're doing. And then, look at this. We got another guy. Let me see if I can get him in. There he is. Silver bullet. Clearly coming out of the nozzle. Running parallel with the tanker. Probably a different kind of mix, so when they two mix together, they can fool the public into making think it looks like more like a cloud. Yeah, we're on to them. Spread the word, people. Please spread the word. Just gotta keep showing you that tanker Plume. It's so incredible. Happy Valentine's Day today, everybody. With Plume in your face, not love. I have love for humanity. I have love for Mother Earth. I don't have love for this. This is totally against universal law. And these criminals should be convicted, tried, sent to a prison, being fed fluoridated and toxic water, and chemtrail plumes in the ventilation system. And see how they like it. What do you think? Please comment on the videos. Appreciate any comments. But just look how thick and how low that is. Let me zoom it right in. Take it to the heart of the plume. That's full zoom on my camera. Look how thick that is. Like I said, happy Valentine's Day. The one below it right here, that was the previous tanker that went by. Remember when we showed you that earlier? See how it all kind of fits in together. Oh boy. And I'm not laughing to be sarcastic. I'm just laughing because this is sickening. And it's just so sickening to see this every day, breathing this stuff every day. Got a local skydiver. Wonder how he feels about breathing in that crap. He's falling right in it. My God. Wonder if he even has a clue. Here's that plume again as it falls on me. Let me back it off completely. This is no zoom. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom it up. God, it's just so nasty. So friggin' nasty. Just so nasty. Alright, we move from that nasty plume to that other tanker's plume. Look what's happened here. Look at over here. You can see the tiny wisps of all breaking apart of the chaff, and who knows what's in that. Really, it's in that mix now. Unless we get some scientists to come forward and tell us exactly what's in there. But this was that was the old plume, the tanker that went by here. You can see how it's all completely blended in with the other plumes. Completely. And soon that'll all be blended in as well. See how the wisps are all kind of, they're almost as if they're attracted. They're very possibly, we could be using the HARP device to bring all this together. Just look at the configuration of that. You can see the white veins, and we know that a lot of this will turn black at night. Look at the webbing. Wow, this has all been documented too on geoengineeringwatch.org, Dane Wigington's website. Very good website. It's around 30 after a short break. Looks like we got a silver bullet. Possible red tails, hard to tell again when they're that far back in the rise. But look at that plume. Just pouring out. And I'm going to be back in about a half an hour or less to show you what the whole sky looks like. Okay, we're back. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Joe Clyde, AscensionPathway.com, and the Evan Fain YouTube channel. And you recall in the earlier portion this morning, when I showed you this northern sky, it was all blue. We did document the haze and stuff. But here's what's happened. I don't want to wreck it for you, but you can clearly see what's going on here. This is all chemtrail activity. This is all chemtrailed. Everything here you see is chemtrailed. Everything. You can see the bombs. Now let me pan into that eastern sky. The wind has picked up slightly, so the shield that has been built, and we're going to show you that, has kind of broken up a bit, but it goes right to what they said, the partly cloudy skies. See how they did that? None of this is real. None of it. None of this is real. None of this. As I pan toward that eastern sky, I'm going to go up a little bit. As I pan easterly, you can see the straight lines. You can see all the chemtrail activity, all chemtrail wisps and grid work and finned work and you name it, it's out there. As I pan, you can see the haze way in the back. Okay, as I pan it back, I'm going to pan to the southern sky. That's where the haze is the most prominent. Now look at that. Look at the grid. We head to that southern sky. You can see the grid completely formed in that horizon. Look at the size of that grid. You might say, well, it's the same. Well, a lot of it has already blown over our way. Because if you recall, all those tankers that went by and all that stuff, that's all been dispersed. Some of it's blown over, some of it's already fallen. You can see it everywhere. Look at that. Now back over here where the sun is, you can see the chemtrails there. Look how they mark that. See how they're basically skywriting again. And they do skywrite to show off their work. See that? See how they got that X grid? See how they got it all gridded? Completely gridded. I hear over here you can see the chemtrail line. You can see the work they've done. There's a jet in the background over there laying some more plume. You can see how they've skywrited to get that grid. Sun's still white from all the reflection, but you can see that jet in the horizon there spraying. But I'm going to pan back this way into that northern sky. I want to show you something, what this guy just did. See this rail right here across here. See that foul? And then there's another rail. Well, that guy disappeared. And if you look real close, another guy came by and laced another line. Look how he turned. See how he turned right there? See that? Unbelievable. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you do that? We're going to be back. I got to head to the gym, get my workout in. But this has been an amazing Valentine's Day, to say the least. As I pan back, you can see the wisps falling from the sky in that western sky. And there's that jet coming around. Isn't that incredible? Okay, it's getting close to 5 o'clock. I'm outside the rec center in Conwood, Arizona. Getting ready to get my workout in. Little update on what has happened. Show you all the wisps that are in the sky. All the bombs that went by, those big trails that we documented early, have all blown over. This is what we got. I'm panning around, show you exactly what we got. Alright, a little bit up in there. And you might be saying, well, it ain't that bad from what you showed us earlier. Well, believe me, it's that bad, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because that stuff has to come down somewhere. And somebody else is being dumped upon, and it's just not here. So you got to feel for humanity, because we know that stuff turns black. The old mix turns black when it falls. Whether or not it is black, we don't know. How it turns black, I feel it's actually black, and the light reflection makes it look white. But there could be, anything's possible in the gravitational matrix of the world, and there may be a chemical change as it falls, through the gravity. I really don't know. All I know is it turns black and people have respiratory problems, other ailments, headaches, all kinds of sickness. And we'll be back to show you what happens later. Well, from the last shot I took, I'm done with my workout. It had gotten from better to worse. Wait till I show you what's going on here. Look at that bad boy. Friggin' blue-tailed nozzle. See that on there? Fucking blue-tailed nozzle. Look at the configuration. I'm gonna back him off and get a better view. Hold on, I'm gonna get him. Friggin' blue bottom, blue tail type of thing. Oh my gosh, look at the plume. Look at the colors rainbowing off the sunlight. Isn't that simply unbelievable? But you gotta believe, look how that plume is just pouring out. I'm trying to hold steady. I just finished my workout. And now he's not spewing as much. See how it's going on and off, spewed. That son of a bitch. Let me show you what he did. And then he stopped. Look at that spewing. He stopped. And look at that friggin' rail. Look at that friggin' rail all the way down to the horizon where he picked up on that feather, that thin work right there. You see that? It probably goes beyond that, but you can't see it. But let me show you again. Look at that rail. Holy cripe. And then when he got in there, he stopped. What the hell? Okay, you see what I'm saying here? I'm gonna put it back here. I'm gonna show you back here. Okay, this is where we left off.
You can see how the chemtrails, how they dispersed. They got the X, they got the grid already made. They're blanketing the sky. Okay, look at this bad boy. Look at the size of that plume. See that? All dispersing. He went all the way down. See that? Right to the sun. Look how he did that. And look at the one right across. Look at that. Isn't that something? Them son of a bitches. Look at that rail right there. Look, it goes all the way across. All the way across. And then connects to that rail where they form the grid. And then there's a layer behind that. See the layer behind that? See how it can change in just a matter of minutes? Let me pan around here and you can see the northern sky. You can see it's all chemtrail, no clouds. They don't make clouds anymore. They're not real. It's all fake. You can see there's the documentation. Look at that rail there. See how they're all the way to the horizon. And then that rail over here. All the wisps falling to the ground. Oh my gosh. And as I go into that western sky, look at that. It looks like a bomb went off and that's all plume and smoke. But you can tell this bad boy had to be a tanker. Had to be a tanker. So I take you right inside of that plume. Look at that. Look at the thickness on that outside edge. Look how thick that is. Wow. And nobody has a friggin' clue. Nobody cares. Nobody has a clue. Look at that bunch right there. You can see the soot starting to fall in the sky, in that southern sky. See the gray there? That's all the black soot that I've been documenting over and over and over and over again. See that? Unbelievable. It's about 6 o'clock and look at this guy. It's another one of those blue, I don't know what you'd call them. But you can clearly see that friggin' nozzle attachment on the back of that. These guys only seem to come out at this point in time. Look at that son of a bitch spray on top of what we already have. Look at the unsymmetrical plume. See how it's spewing out more on one side than the other? Come on. Jeez, how much more evidence do people need to wake up to this? Look, I'm gonna back up, just show you the plume. Look at that one. And look at that rail. Look at the size of that tanker. That's the one I showed you earlier, just before I left the rec center. Look at that. Oh my gosh. All right, we're still around 6 o'clock and I look at this eastern sky. As I pan to the southern sky, look at the black soot falling from the earlier trailing. Look at that soot. And that's gonna fall on somebody. You can see the double layers of soot. Look at that on the bottom mountain. Just think of all the people that are breathing that in, and that could be you. And look at that finned work back in there. See the wisps? Look how that is. And there's hardly any wind, so how can that be? All right, now let me pan up here. As I go to the western sky, we got more plumers up there. We just saw a tanker go by, but we didn't get him. We're gonna show you what he did. It's this bottom layer right here. Look at that, all the way across. See that? Through already the purple soot. Look at it, it's already dripping like icing off a cake or almost intestinal villi. Yeah, your intestines look like that. I worked in the medical field for a long time, and I know this. Okay, then there's that guy I just documented. That blue-tailed whatever he was. You can see where he left off his plume. And now we got a guy right above that other rail. Pan it back here, bring you all the way across, and we'll see who he is. Right into the heart of that fin work. Look at him. Can't make him out, he's so far in there. But see how he just laced another layer as he goes across the sky. Isn't this sickening? Absolutely sickening. Look at this. That's where a tanker went through. Look at all the trails. Look at all that. And it's all going to be black tonight. This looks like a lot of the old mix. You can see the soot falling there, and that's the northern sky. We'll be back just before dark to show you how it altered. Look at that. All right, we're right on the road. It's a little after 6 o'clock. And they're still spraying like hell out here. They've really got it all grid-like. Looks like another one of those blue babies. I don't know what they are, but see the nozzle? My gosh, you can see the nozzle. The last few jets we've seen were these guys.
Look at this plume just spray out of that back nozzle. Let me back it up so you can see the grid work. Look at that. You can see the soot over there. See the different colors on the horizon. This is right above us. And look at that. Look at that soot over there just falling out of the sky. Okay, now we're on the road. I want to show you this. Look at the wisp falling from the sky there. Might see some soot on the windshield from all this falling down, so that would explain the dots and stuff on the screen. But look at the color. See how the sun is changing the color? Look at that soot. My gosh, that's in Phoenix. So who's ever in Phoenix? Oh man, I'm sorry, man. But it's above us too. All right, this looks like a red bad boy, and it is. Or it could be a yellow. No, it looks like a red bad boy. Wow. Lacing a nice final top pluming before the sun goes completely down. All right, we're back in the northern sky. We're going to show you that. Okay, it doesn't look too bad, huh? But we know that we've documented it. But you can see the black soot falling out of those pink cloudoids as we go into that eastern sky. Look at that horizon soot. Let me pan that in for you. Look at that. You think it's blue, huh? It's not. It's purple, black soot. As I pan completely into that eastern sky. Remember, I got my camera on real on the light setting, so it looks lighter than what it actually is. But look at the haze. You can't even see through it. It's so thick. Look at it, and you're breathing it. So I keep panning. You're going to see something really spectacular here. Look at this. Look at the color there. And that'll all be black as the sun goes completely down. Look at the soot over there. Look at the wisp here. Look at that. My God. What the hell is happening? Look at the soot. You see the back part of that? All falling.
It's all chemtrail.
Red on the top because the sun's still reflecting. Black on the bottom. Not getting any sunlight.
It's all chemtrail.
Look at that. Looks like a bomb went off. Look at the black soot. Look at that. All right, Joe Clyde, AscensionPathway.com, signing off. All right, the last documentation of the night. There you can see the chemtrail activity. It's all black. Just like I told you. See that big friggin' chemtrail right there? All black. You still see some of the color back in there, still reflection of the sunlight as the sun heads into that west. See that? Isn't that awful? Anyway, Joe Clyde, AscensionPathway.com. Catch the video on Evan Fain YouTube channel. Signing off. Happy Valentine's Day 20 and 15.